Hey, what's going on? Can you guys hear me now? Big oops there. I muted my mic. Let me know if you guys are hearing me okay now. It should be working now. And once again, my name is Stranger, and thanks for tuning in here. Still no sound. Check one, check two. There should be sound. Okay. All right. I think we're good. What's going on, everyone? Shouts out to Jason Gilman. What's going on, brother? Sebastian, Nightglow, Rob Bra, Nick Skywalker, Kreten, Movetak, Vladimir, Max, Baros, K Nature Productions. What's up? Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in today. So sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. I had my mic muted for another recording last night, but we are on board. And yes, today we are doing a new series of live streams. We're going to be going through set topics. So this week we're going to dive deep into addictive drums. We did a video on addictive drums last week where I showed you guys how I would make break beats with addictive drums, but there's really so much you can do within an edited 20-minute video, and there's so much that you can do with addictive drums that I feel it deserves a longer video. So we're going to dive deep into addictive drums, all the different functionalities within the platform in terms of how you can customize a drum kit, how you can shape certain drum kit pieces, and then how we can do manual routing so you can get the most out of addictive drums, as well as using additional plugins that are third party to addictive drums. And that's where the real power, I think, is being able to do custom routing. And then there's a new plugin by Cymatics, the Diablo Lite, which just came out recently. I had a quick play with it, and I thought it was a pretty cool plugin, a nice way to pump up your drums. So I'm just gonna show you guys and dive deep into Diablo, and yeah, and then we'll probably have some time for some quick Q&A. We're gonna try to limit the show to around, I'd say, an hour and a half. We'll see how we do, because I want to keep these as a series. So I do want to stay on topic and on schedule. But before we get started, let me know, where are all you guys tuning in from? Where in the world are you watching? I gotta have a sip of tea. Is the sound glitchy still? Oh no, we're having that glitchy issue again. Seems to be a recurring theme every time I stream. Why does this? Okay, let me start OBS again. Maybe it's OBS. I'm gonna close OBS and then I'm gonna come back on. Okay. Check one. All right. Let me know if the sound is still glitchy. Maybe it's the bit rate I am. Maybe I need to remove the or reduce the bit rate. I'm streaming at 5,000 bits right now. I was hoping it'd be better quality. Shouts out to everyone in Wales, in Watford, England. Shouts out to Shenzhen, China. What's up? I've never been to Shenzhen, but I really want to go. My parents have been there. Okay, great. It's better now. Oh, sweet. Okay. I gotta really figure this out. It seems like every time I go stream, it gets glitchy, but it seems like it's better now, so that's great. Okay, so yeah, once again, we're diving deep. So this is a new series, live stream series. We're gonna be going through set topics every week or every other week. This week, we're diving deep into addictive which we did edited video last week, but I think it just deserves a longer video because there's so much that you can do with addictive drums, so many functionalities to customize your drum kit, as well as shape specific drums. And then to take it even further, you can do manual routing. I think that's where the real power is, where you can then use third-party plugins on separate channels in Addictive Drums. And then we're going to get into Cymatics' new plugin, Diablo Lite. Really cool plugin to pump your drums. So really excited to show you guys that. And then we're going to have some Q&A. So shouts out to France. What's up, everyone? Shouts out to Christopher Strasser. What's going on, Tommy? All right, so I'm just going to pump up Addictive Drums and we'll just get started. So let me know who has Addictive Drums, who picked it up recently, or who has had it for a while now. And if you have Addictive Drums, what kit do you have? What's your favorite kit? So there's tons of kits with Addictive Drums, and kits are basically a selection of different branded or manufactured drum pieces. Shouts out to Switzerland. And every kit has a different kind of sound. So the Fairfax volumes have kind of a, I guess, funk soul kind of sound. It has this really 60s, 70s kind of sound. So it's a great kit to make really, I guess, funk soul breaks. Like I recently made a break that sounded like the Funky Drummer with Fairfax. So these are great kits. And you can also preview each kit piece by hitting this map. They call it the drum map here. And yeah, the Fairfax ones are good. The Black Velvets were pretty good too. They have a slightly more aggressive tone. So if you want something heavier, the Black Velvet series is good. Another one with more aggressive sounds that I found was the Progressive Studio Prog. That one had some pretty Dillinger sounding snares, and I like that. If I can find it right now. Yeah, this guy here. So a couple of you have asked me what kit to get because some of you can only afford to get the custom pack, which gives you 3 kits. And I mean, they're all really good, so you really can't go wrong. But I think one of the Fairfax ones should be a default because it gives you a well-rounded funk soul kind of drum kit. So I would say Fairfax 2. I would get Studio Prog for more harder drums, so you get those. So this one here, so you get those Dillinger sounding snares, and then you could get something. The metal one also has really cool hard snares. So yeah, their snares really slam. So the metal one is good if you want to go for that Dillinger style drum kit. Also, if you want something unique, these session percussion ones are nice too because it gives you some kind of, I guess, more exotic style percussion like bongos and congas. And that could add some more interesting sounds to your kit. Oh, that's an interesting question. How do you route individual MIDI? I don't think you can. I wonder if you can. Let's see if you can. I was gonna get into audio, but wonder if you can choose Addictive Drums. Yeah, if you choose Addictive Drums here. Yeah, here you can map separate MIDI here. So let's say, so now under here where it says MIDI 2, so I only know how to do this with Ableton. Unfortunately, I don't have any other DAW right now. Now, if you click on MIDI 2, select Addictive Drums, and I would assume if you click number 1, that would be the first track, the kick. I would hope that works. Well, it seems to give you access to all the other kits, but I would suppose that you can just make multiples. And let's say you want this one to be the snare, right? Right, so now you have separate midis. Yeah, that works. Take this out. So that was, someone had a question about how do you route separate midis. I hope that answered your question. So really it's this area here where it says MIDI 2. You choose your MIDI instrument, which is Addictive Drums. And then you select, well, I don't think this really matters, the channel number, because I'm using the same channel, because they all have the same access to the kit. So you can just have this one be the kick. This one, you have the note for the snare, right? Oh, shoot. Thanks for the heads up, man. These live streams always take a little bit of getting used to. There's so much to look out for. So, yeah. Okay, so let me redo that. So, Addictive Drums, if you want separate MIDI tracks, just add a new MIDI track, right? And over here on the bottom where it says MIDI 2, select Addictive Drums. And well, and then this second drop down is, I don't think it really matters, but I'm gonna choose number 1, Addictive Drums. And let's say this one is the kick, right? So we can just sequence the kick here. The kick is usually C1, right? That's just standard MIDI. I don't know what you call it, but just standard C1 is reserved for the kick. And then this one could be the snare, right? And here you can just, right? So now you have separate MIDI, right? Why does this sound weird? Oh yeah. So whoever asked that question about MIDI mapping, let me know if this helps. In terms of mapping to different channels. I think there's another question about going here and going into the mapping. So this shows you what drum kit is placed on each key. And there's a little more customization you can do with the MIDI here. I haven't really dived into this section yet, so I don't really know my way around it yet, but feel free to visit. But okay, so I'm just gonna go back into Addictive Drums, and really I just want to dive deep into its functions today. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go into the beats section, and I'm gonna look for a groove. So there's addition to the kit packs, there are MIDI packs, and these MIDI packs are recorded by a live drummer, I guess, on an electronic drum kit. So it records all the drum notes when they hit it. So you get a real live drummer feel from these. Let me find another kit. So this is the 60s. I mean, that one's pretty good. Well, we can use that. So if you like that kit or that MIDI, you can just click on the name here and drag it right into your MIDI track. And then you can edit it. So I don't want this ghost hit here, for example, and I may want just one bar, right? And see. And I might want another ghost snare here. Okay, so now we have a pattern. Now I like to do it at a slower tempo because I want to authentically recreate the breaks. And what I do is I first create the break and then I bounce into audio. So we'll just play at a slower tempo. Okay, so whoa. The first thing is let's customize this kit, right? Let's look for a better kick. So under your kit pieces, you can just click on this L and choose a different kick, right? Whoa, that's a heavy one. Does anyone have a favorite kick from Addictive Drums? Maybe this one. Let's solo the kick. And for this pack, I don't know why all the mixer levels are down to 0. I guess they only want the drum bus. So when you mute the overhead and room, you don't get the ambiance. So you're just getting that direct mic from the kick. So this is where we can fine tune the kick, right? You can pitch it up. So now I can hear the kick better. Maybe there's another one. The geriative kick, Tama kicks are nice. There's the Tama. That's a nice kind of boom. This one's nice. DW collect. Kind of like that. Still like DW. Because for a breakbeat, I might not want it to be sounding so boomy. I'm sure we could shape that too. This one's good too, DW. Ice custom is nice. This has a little more mid, some more body, and we might need that body to shape it. So I'm going to choose the Ludwig or DW. And I'm going to pitch it up just a little. Now you can play the pitch envelope, which is you can add like where it starts high with high pitch, you get more attack. Or you can switch between so here this panel you can switch between the pitch envelope and the tone designer. And I'm not clear if both are active or are you choosing one or the other. If someone knows, then let us know. Can you actually tweak the mic position? I didn't know if you could, because I know you can move the balance between the beater and the front, but I don't know that you can actually move the mic. Now the velocity just sounds weird here, so I'm gonna fix it. I think this one should be loud, and this one there. We could have it so using the envelope, you can make it tighter by shaping how the volume decays. And a tone designer is how you shape the fundamentals. How does it I guess how does it release or decay? I think you can change certain notes. You have to go into MIDI mapping. You see if it's up here, you get more of that mid-tone. So if you want a tighter kick, then if you want a sharp attack, then you want the attack to be much louder than the sustain here, right? So if you want that initial, that boom, that attack, then make sure you have a higher attack area and you bring your sustain down. Now, if you want a tighter kick, that means you want to kick the end or just end shorter. So then you have to adjust the, well, I guess they call it the release here. Okay. And then over here, we can adjust the beater is the microphone at the back of the kick. The front is the microphone in front. If you were looking at the drummer, that's the front. You get more of the bass overtones when you're balanced more towards the front of the kick. I think in the middle is fine. Then you could add some noise. Now there's different types of noises here. I think tube is fine. Someone's vacuuming in my building. Hopefully that's not distracting. Then we can turn on the compression, bring the threshold down, bring the ratio of your compressor up. Usually I use around 2:4 ratio. Now, if you don't want that kick to be smashed, then increase the attack time to allow time for the attack to play out before the compressor activates. Around 50.5 millisecond. Well, maybe 1 millisecond. Because our decay is actually 20, so attack is actually 25 milliseconds based on the volume envelope here. So you may want to adjust the compression attack to be in sync. Wow, that vacuum is very loud. Now here, I think this is adding some distortion after the compression. You can filter it first, so maybe we just want the highs to distort and not the bottom. So that distortion brings up that noise. Notice how loud the noise is. So we can shape. I want that noise to just be like that, really short. So this is without distortion. And then we can shape the kick with some EQing. Now I like to use a more narrow cue to identify the frequency that we want to boost. So the higher the cue, which it stands for resonance, the more narrow your EQ band will be. You can see that fundamental really lingers, so we may want to adjust the tone decay a bit. And then once you find a frequency, then you can make it a little wider again so it's not so sharp, and bring it down. Again, widened. We may want some of those, the high frequencies, so. Okay. Adding some additional tape and shape. That net noise is getting loud now because of all the compression distortion. So the shape, I think, is a transient shaper. So if you want a tighter, more attack, then increase the attack. Okay, so that is the kick. Let's play with the snare. That kick probably has a bit too much distortion. Jason, are you saying you can bounce out individual stems? Because I know you can bounce out the entire recording. I'm just learning about the snare buzz as well. Man, it's so hard to choose. Let's try this one, the Tama. So obviously the snare sounds lacking now because it needs all that processing. So it's now snappier when you bring the balance between the mics. So just like the kick, the snare has two mics, one at the top and one on the bottom. Snappier when it's towards the bottom. The piccolo slice snare is nice. Again, we can shape the snare. Look for the fundamental frequency. So you want really slam snares, then within the transient shaper, you can increase the sustain. You get that Dillinger or old school current value style snare. Then the noise is getting in the way. I'm going to turn off the noise. I like a more tamed sustain, but now you know you can slam the sustain and get a really fat snare. Okay, let's get some hi-hats in here. The paste ones are nice. How do you determine? Well, you use that method. So your question about how do you determine which frequencies to boost? So you use a narrow Q, and then you look for, and then you bring the gain all the way up, and you look for that frequency range that pops. And then the moment it starts pop, it means it's resonating, right? Because it I don't know any other way to explain it, but when you find that key frequency and it pops, then you know that's one of the frequencies well, you may want to attenuate it or boost it. Also, I just use my ear and just listen for what sounds good to me. If I want a snappy snare, then the 1200 to 2400 range gives you that snap. So yeah, I narrow the Q, right? So I look for that frequency that has that popping or ringing kind of sound. So it rings. Sometimes you can hear that ringing down here or up here. So I know that that's a resonant frequency. And it tends to be a good frequency to boost. Or sometimes you need to reduce it. So if you want that hi-hat to have a really sharp, defined attack, then bring up the attack. Not sure what theme I'm using. Is the darker, I think it's what the dark theme. Okay, let's bring in the overhead. So the overhead are the mics placed above the drummer. Usually there's two microphones, so you get a stereo sound. So I'm soloing the overhead right now. That's how you get that room effect. I mean, this setting sounds good already. We could smash the compression. There's different distortion shapes here, by the way. That sounds cool. Yeah, heavy sounds cool. And you also get the EQ, the overhead, which is pretty nice. This almost makes me want to take a course in drum, like recording engineering in terms of drums, because there's so much you can do. I don't have a background in doing this. I just do it by ear, right? Just from doing practice over time. But I'm sure there's tons you can learn in terms of industry secrets. In terms of like the overhead, how you're supposed to EQ the overhead. Not that there are any hard rules, but maybe there's some best practices or trade secrets on how you would shape the overhead, right? Let's add some saturation. So the overhead has an additional saturation fader here, which is nice. So this is without overhead. Let's add some room. So room is kind of similar to overhead. It's just the recording the room ambiance. So that's the overhead. And here's the room. And then you can bus individual sounds to the third, I guess, sub group here. So this is a more custom, so you can send, for example, the kick. So using these faders on top. So notice when I hit bus, there's these faders on top of each on the mixer. So you can specify that I want the kick and snare, or maybe I just want the snare and hi-hat. So those two sounds can crunch. So there's a filter up. Curious, why do I still hear the kick though? I'm soloing the bus. Oh, because the overhead and room are being sent to the bus as well. That's interesting. So now I just have the kick and snare sent to the bus. This is interesting. The EQ here has a high, low pass. I don't know how you enable or disable that, or is it just default? It just appears, but do the other ones have it? Oh, they do. They have this. So this is how you high pass it. There's this arrow at the end, on each end of the EQ, and you can use this to high pass. That's interesting. Cool way to do it. Let me save this because we did a lot of work so far and I don't want to lose my work. So I'm gonna call this 2021 0115 Addictive Drums stream. This break is sounding pretty cool. I may want the ghost notes to be a little more muted so we can so here the velocity controls here. This is controls how sensitive your drum velocity is to the volume and filter. Is it working? Maybe the velocity. Yeah, it's low. Oh, I wasn't editing the right one. See how it's muted now when I increase the filter on those quieter ghost hits? What did I change earlier? Oops. Oh, great. Now it sounds muted. What did I do? Should be okay. Oh, see, sometimes you want those ghost hits to be a little muted, so you bring the filter sensitivity up. Let's save this again. So yeah, so you could manually send each drum kit to a different audio track, right? So let's say we want to bring the snare to separate output. So you can, these arrows here, you can choose separate out. Now you can either choose pre-fader or post-fader. That just means, are you sending the snare direct, right? Then that would be pre-fader. But if it's, you want this to have an impact, then you set it as post-fader. I'm gonna set pre-fader. And then you create an audio track here. And then on audio from, you choose Addictive Drums. And then the second drop down, choose the snare. And then just hit the LN, the line button. So now you have a separate output for the snare. Now the only thing is, Addictive Drums, the main Addictive Drums will still output the snare, so you're getting you're almost duplicating the snare. I wonder if you could just bring it down like that. Doesn't seem to work. So let's say you want to apply, what do I want to apply? Some kind of saturator, right? To the snare. Maybe you want to EQ it with a little more precision. Joe, I'll see if I can answer your question later. I just want to focus on this right now. So we may want to remove some of the low end from that snare. What else? Let's let's add so this is the snare. Let's do it for everything, and then we can really shape this. Well, we're not using the tom, so not worry about that. So let's not go there. Just snare, hi-hat, overhead, room, and the bus. So now we'll have 1, 2, 3, 6 different tracks. Oh. I'm really fussy about colors. This will be the kick, snare, hi-hat, overhead, room, and bus. And then just set these correctly, kick, snare, hi-hat. overhead, room, and bus. Great. Sweet. Now everything's really loud right now, so I'm going to bring all the levels down. So neat trick, highlight all the tracks, and then you can adjust the fader. Oh. That's better. Hey, what's up, Waypoint? So now we have each track mapped. Maybe we want to fine tune that hi-hat, give it a little crunch. So, oh, they all have the same EQ. We may not want that. So I'm going to remove that. Oops. Again, overhead, we may want to remove some of the bottom end. Same for room. Sometimes the room sounds muddy, so maybe you want to shape the room a bit. And for the kick, snare, and hi-hat, we may want to group those and perhaps add, maybe I'll add the bass there on top. So I'll call this main drums. That's starting to make it sound more separated, and so I don't want that. Maybe group it again. Let's see what. Can group the entire group. I think we need a sharper hi-hat, so I'm going to go back into the hi-hat section. Yeah, the AD group has the entire bus, so I have it's all the sounds bussed together. The kick, snare, hi-hat, overhead, room, and bus. Now what you could do is, well, with all the processing outside, normally you could just go into Addictive Drums, and on the bottom left here, there's this wave icon. You can drag that file over into an audio track, right? And here's the recording, right? I think this was another one I recorded. It sounds different. But then you can chop it up, right? But since we did all this processing outside, we're going to have to create an audio track and then record our bus. So record from AD group, which is here. Arm it for recording. And I hit record. Now I want to record it at a slower tempo because I want to pitch it up like old school style. So I'm going to break it down to 115. Okay. And now, well, you can chop it up, right? So right click, slice to MIDI, slice to new track. And from every transient, I'm just being lazy here, but normally I would manually cut up each slice. Oh yeah. So now I have it as a separate track. Now I gotta bring the volume of each slice up. You can speed it up now, pitch it up. Right. At this point, I like applying a trash on top of it. Now I have a preset that I made in a previous video. We'll just use that one. Right. Check. And then, I mean, you could resequence it if you like, right? So we can save that break. Now, I did kind of speed through it. I feel like some of the kit selection could be better. So for example, I mean, you can just, sometimes you can just, well, can I save this first? I'll just save it here. You try, since you have the patterns, you can go and try out other kits, right? That's a quick way to just but that sounds cool. Hey, what's up, Krala? Essentially, you're just doing it outside. You're just mixing outside of Addictive Drums, but you can get the same results whether you're doing it within Addictive Drums or outside. It's just when you bring it outside, you have additional plugins you can apply to each individual sound, right? Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, once again, I like bringing the tempo down and then recording it. Right. Now you have the recording, you can slice it. Oh, I didn't have the pitch. That's a good one too. It's a nice one. That's a nice one. That's probably the piccolo snare. That's that Dillinger sound, yeah. Let's record one of these ones. Oh. That's a really fat snare. Oh, that's a really cool old school. That's a really cool old school sounding break. So you can get these cool, nice breaks once you record it and then you start playing around with it. Add that trash plugin in. We'll do a few more. Oh, this one is just so good. Reminds me of some Marcus Intellect style tracks. So I wanted to show you guys this one's for free, the Cymatics Diablo Lite. This is a really cool plugin. Nice. So I think this is parallel compression on the punch, and then clipper is a clipper. So the nice way to make your drums really snappy and loud. And you could get this for free on the Cymatics site. They're coming out with the full version, but the light one still is pretty good with just 2 controls. I mean, these 2 controls are pretty handy. This is without it. And with it. Shouts out Velo, thanks for picking out that track. Ritual, you may be onto something. I haven't tried G Clip yet. There's also Free Clip by Ven Audio. That one's also really good. I feel like adding a bit of bass. It's always nice to have some bass on top. By the way, guys, if you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I'm putting up content there. I try to put up content there daily, but I've been kind of off this week. So if you have Instagram, add me on Instagram. So these are presets on my gnarly serum pack, which is coming out in less than 2 weeks. Originally I had 140 presets, but I've been growing it ever since. So now when I'm advertising, it went up to 150 but I think I gotta stop there. But here are all the presets within gnarly. There's tons of really good 808s. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet, you can get 10% off if you pre-order it today. Check the link in the description. If you're on my email list, you get an even better discount. So yeah, you can check that out on my website. Check it out in the link below. I've provided macro knobs to help you just customize the sound. So easily you can just shape and make whatever sound you want just by using the macro knobs. Sounds a bit too hard. That's cool. my camera just died. Give me 1 second. I gotta fix the camera. Yeah, it's fun to make breaks. Big up Krala. Krala is a producer from Toronto. I've known him for a good number of years now. Good guy. And he's got some good music in the works. So keep an eye out for Krala. What can we add on top of it? Maybe some kind of Reese. So we can check the gnarly Reeses. So it's got 808s in gnarly, bunch of dance floor stabs, tons of foghorns, like 30 or 35 foghorns, bunch of jungle style basses, liquid basses, Reeses. Then you have like 50 UK bass style and bassline stabs. There's tons of wobbles, womps, wubs. There's tons of leads. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy this. If you're interested in grabbing it, pick it up on my online store. Once again, link below. So let's show you guys the Reeses that I have in here. Another Reese. Maybe we can put this on top, but take the bottom out since we have a bass. Kinda. You want to see the fog? What's up, Grant? I'll show you the foghorns. Oh, the EQ. Audio is glitchy again. All right, I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna log out of OBS. Is it still stuttering? As you can see, tons of foghorns in here. Once again, we're previewing my gnarly serum pack. Also, it has wave samples. If you don't have serum, there's a wave pack that will be available at a lower price, but that won't be on pre-order. It will only be available on the release date, which is January 26th. Check the link below. So those are the foghorns. Maybe you missed some of the ones in the beginning because it was glitchy, so I'll play it again. And then there's a bunch of UK style I like the wubs that in this pack, so yeah, waves, I would just put it in a simpler or sampler. So yeah, this is just a preview of my serum preset pack called Gnarly, coming out soon. Yeah. Maybe we'll put a foghorn on this one. I'm going to be ending the stream soon. We did cover what I wanted to cover for today. Let me know if you have any final Q&A questions. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to some of the questions through the stream because it's hard to focus when you're doing this. So I'm going to try to keep Q&A at the end next time. Still call and response. So that was just fun stuff with the Addictive Drums. You guys have any more questions about Addictive Drums or anything we did today? I think we just glanced over this Diablo Lite. I wanted to show you guys, but really there's just really two functions here. So it's pretty straightforward. You can grab Diablo Lite for free from Cymatics. Not sponsored by them, but I really enjoyed using it the last little while. Really cool plugin to add some punch and clip your drums to make it super upfront. Eris, I would believe you're correct with your explanation. And Ritual, yes, I would use simpler with the waves. Thanks for pre-ordering, Zone. Thank you very much. Yeah, just a couple more minutes. If any questions, shoot them now. Otherwise, we will be ending shortly. Yeah, so just to be clear, saturation is, I guess, when you push the signal on your mixer or something, you get those, you push certain harmonics get pushed and you get those pleasant, sometimes pleasant, distorted sounds. So that's what saturation does. And yeah, clipping is when it's hard clipping. So when you boost something over zero, zero is your headroom. So if you push something over zero, it has to like, that's when you see that square, the sausage waveform, right? Because you're crushing those waveforms. So they're all hitting that zero line, the top line. So it squares out. And sometimes that's a pleasant effect because it gets your drum super banging and slapping. In terms of releasing tunes, I'm doing a lot of self-releases, so I would recommend trying Spotify or using DistroKid to get your tunes on Spotify. Or if you can find a label that's willing to take your tunes, that's cool too. There's tons of labels out there. Also, I know the competition is high, so make sure your tunes are up there, right? Because it is hard to get your tunes signed these days because there's just so many tunes out there. So so get your tunes, try putting it out on your own first, send it out to DJs. There's tons of DJs doing it on Instagram now. Tons of up and coming DJs that are getting a big following, and they will play your tunes. Like there's these younger DJs that are killing Instagram, like Mish. He's killing it. He accepts tunes all the time. So if your tunes are banging, send it over to him because he will get it played and a lot of people will hear it. So I think Instagram and TikTok are a great channel to get your tunes out to people right now. Those platforms are really allowing up and coming DJs to build a really big following, and these DJs are still really accessible now. So you could contact them and send them your tunes, and they have a huge network. Some of these up and comers have 20,000 followers, and if they play your tune, that's 20,000 people that potentially could hear your track. So I would recommend trying that. How long have I been producing? I've been producing since late 96, so almost 24 years now. Yeah, it's been a long time, but thinking back, it doesn't seem that long. It's weird how time flies. I can still remember memories like it was yesterday. Yeah, I'd totally go for less is more in terms of ranging a track. I prefer having the least amount of elements and having each element having the most impact. You see how that makes sense? You have the most minimal, least amount of elements, but every element has the maximum impact. I think that way of approaching composing is the best. It doesn't clutter up the mix. Each sound has focus. Big up, Eris. Thanks for watching, man. Big up all Atlantic crew. Big up EG. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Producing since 91. Anyone producing before that? Otherwise, EG is the OG right now. I believe Diablo is available for free for both Mac and PC. Just go to the Cymatics website. I couldn't see why they wouldn't allow the Mac users to have it. Acid House Times. All right, guys. I think that's it. We went through everything I wanted to go through today. We went through Addictive Drums. I showed you guys Diablo. I showed you guys my gnarly sound pack. And once again, if you're interested, it's available for discount right now on my online website. Check it out in the link below. Other than that, hope you guys have a good weekend. Make sure you put in tons of time in the studio. Keep practicing. If you have Addictive Drums, now you have a little more in-depth on how to use it, and you can make your own breaks. Super fun thing to do. Go grab Diablo Lite. Awesome plugin to make your drums sound banging. And then until next time, I'll